Now, let me switch briefly to another topic. A few weeks ago, I don't know if you've seen that Dawkins was interviewed and he talked about how if he had a choice between being identified as, with Muslims or Christians, he would rather call himself a cultural Christian.
So I count myself a cultural Christian. I think it wouldn't matter. I don't. I might choose my words carefully. I mean, if I had to choose between Christianity and Islam, I choose Christianity every single time. I mean, it seems to me to be a fundamentally decent religion, in a way that I think Islam is not.
Now, how do you take that? Is it good news? Is he finally going in the right direction, or um,
Well, I think he's right about that. My doctoral mentor, Professor John Hick at the University of Birmingham, was a religious pluralist. He thought that there are many different avenues to God, in particular Hinduism and Buddhism, for example. But Hick was very honest with me in saying that he thought that Islam is a dreadful religion. He said only parts of it, like the mystical Sufi tradition, was something that he could appreciate. But for the most part, he found Islam to be a legalistic, intolerant, and I think violent religion that has a defective concept of God, and this plays itself out in the sort of use of violence as a means of evangelism, that you are to violently uh, convert people to Islam. And historically, Islam was spread by the sword as these Arab forces conquered the Eastern Mediterranean and then across North Africa all the way to Morocco.
and do you think Islam is the number one threat that is faced in religious world, or what's your take on it?
No, this I I'll tell you, I think that could be true. Um, People like me are usually concerned with secularism and atheism and so forth, but that is not a huge tradition. And it may well be that the greatest threat we face is Islam. And not so much because people convert to Islam, but because Islam has higher population growth. And so in countries like France, it may already be too late in France. The birth rate among native French-born people is so small that that population cannot replenish itself. And with the influx of Islamic immigrants who have very high birth rates and large families, it's frightening to contemplate what France will look like in another 100 years, not to say another 300 years. I really, really do fear for the future of some of these European countries. I think the only hope in this case would be for evangelization of these Muslim immigrants, to bring them to Christ, to share the gospel with them, and thereby to help them come to know Christ and to leave Islam. But that is a very, very hard task because they are so deeply entrenched in their religious worldview. So I do honestly think that the threat of worldwide Islam is a terrifying prospect.